In this video I show you the new minifigures from Series 29. Rate them, build a small diorama for each figure, and rate those as well. So let's not waste any time and get started right away. Each diorama is placed on this construction with a 16 by 16 Technic brick frame, making it a total of 20 by 20 studs. So let's start with the first figure. This figure is, I would say, one of the weakest in this series when it comes to details. Apart from the printed torso, which transitions a bit oddly into the skirt, and the nice hair mold in pearl gold, the figure doesn't offer that much. But there is one thing that really elevates it, a unicorn. I would give the figure a 6 out of 10. For the diorama, I imagined a typical forest scene. In the center there is a path that, through its different shades of color, is meant to emphasize the diversity of the forest, where elves live. In the background there are coniferous trees, created by stacking plant elements and connecting them with a brown bar, representing a coniferous forest through the quantity. In the foreground there are a few tree trunks and bushes which completes the diorama. I would give the diorama a 7 out of 10. Do you think there could be even more potential in a medieval setting? The Monster Hunter is the female version of a figure that was a highlight in Series 27. And what can I say? She definitely lives up to that legacy. A lot was done right with this figure. Printed arms, dual model legs, a cool head mold, and even a fabric piece for the legs. She comes with a 2x3 tile featuring a wanted poster and a 2-in-1 weapon that looks really awesome. For me, the figure is a 9 out of 10. It's just missing a little something to be perfect, but still a very cool figure. For the diorama, this figure gets a graveyard scene. In the background, there's a fence that has already been broken through, and the path is done in dark green, this time to create a dark atmosphere. In the foreground, a grave is suggested by a cross on the brown ground, which the hunter is about to dig up. Add a bit of plant pieces and the diorama is already complete. I would give it an 8 out of 10. Who do you think the hunter is trying to dig up? I would say this is the weakest figure in the series. The Chocolatier comes with a torso that suggests an apron and at least features dual molded arms. The legs with the sprint have been used before, as has the hair mold with the head covering. Even the dragon mold already appeared in the Dungeons & Dragons series, just with a different print. I would only give the figure a 5 out of 10. Unfortunately, it feels too ordinary for this series. But the diorama is really going to shine. I came up with a section of a kitchen filled with Chocolatier accessories. Let's start with the floor, which this time is done in dark blue and medium blue. The walls are white, and I also added a group of windows in between. Onto the seat lamps, I attached items that the Chocolatier would need. In the corner, there's a shelf where chocolate can be stored temporarily. Then there's a fridge, an industrial machine, a prep table, and in the center a large table where the chocolate is made, and with beautiful shapes like the dragon are created. The diorama is one of my favorites, and really helps the figure look better again. For me, it's a 9 out of 10. I would say this is the cutest figure in the series. Sweet Witch. In lilac tones with pastel details and a printed dress. It's definitely one of my favorite figures in the series. In addition to the magic wand as an accessory, she comes with a cat as a nice companion, which brings the figure to an 8 out of 10 for me. For the diorama, she gets a secret magic room where she is brewing a mysterious potion. To create more contrast, I used ingots in sand blue and dark keys for the floor. The room is designed in a medieval style, using masonry bricks and grey bricks. For the windows, I didn't use the typical black or brown grill pieces, but instead medium lavender ones, along with a round dark brown door. On the wall I added some of those glass elements from LEGO Dreams. Now it just needs something for brewing drinks. So I used different kinds of jars and liquids placed on these simple tables. I would give the diorama a 9 out of 10. It could easily be integrated really well into a castle mod. But now there's only one question left. What is the secret potion? It's the elixir of life. Beer. So brew even more of this delicious drink. Ha 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 ha. course, LEGO couldn't resist including a soccer player figure in the series for the upcoming World Cup, more specifically a goalkeeper. The figure actually disappoints me a bit, since they skipped arm printing. A big plus point is definitely the soccer ball, which features a new mold with printing. I would give the figure a 6 out of 10. For the diorama, there's really one logical option for me, a soccer goal. Let's start with the field. Besides the white markings, it's designed in green and bright green, the typical colors of a soccer field. In the background, I built a fence that can display individual fonts using tiles. The goal itself is unfortunately a bit of a problem for this diorama, since there isn't a proper net piece from LEGO or other manufacturers. I had to improvise and add my own net. I used an old tablecloth and cut out a net shape in the middle, and just like that, it already looks much better. This figure is a bit strange, but I still think the Robo T-Rex is quite well done. With printed arms, side leg printing, and a new head mold, it's one of the better figures in terms of detail. I would give it a 9 out of 10, since I still need to warm up to the concept of the figure a bit. For the diorama, I didn't have that many ideas. What I ended up with is a laboratory cage in which the artificial T-Rex gets its own artificial natural environment. The interior is done in green and bright green. The wall in dark blue grey is meant to represent isolation, and in front of it there's a white wall with 2 holes and a control panel where the temperature, or maybe even the T-Rex itself, can be adjusted. That's just a guess from me. On top, there's also a sort of device, so the T-Rex can be fed, and with that the diorama is complete. Similar to the figure, I still find it a bit strange, but I would still give it an 8 out of 10. This figure is interesting as well, even though I've never tried bubble tea. It has a certain charm. That's mainly because of this blue piece that goes over the entire figure. Unfortunately, that piece is also the only standard feature since there is no arm or leg printing. That's why the figure only gets a 6 out of 10. Similar to the Bionicle Cosplayer, I initially didn't know how to build a diorama for this figure. In the end, I went to her mascot style approach. The figure is promoting the bubble tea shop Tuba, so that I built a small street section and added a house facade in shades of red and trans pink, with a large sign reading Tuba attached to it. If you're wondering why the shop doesn't have any interior, well, I don't really know what a bubble tea shop looks like. So I placed some boxes inside to show that the place is still being set up, and the mascot is advertising the grand opening. I'm not entirely satisfied with this diorama, so it only gets a 5 out of 10. The marine biologist is a diver figure that could easily appear in a city set. With a molded hairstyle and dual molded legs, she is only minimally detailed. A definite highlight is the new clownfish, which looks really great. I would give the figure a 7 out of 10. For the diorama, of course, an underwater scene. The ground is done in tan and sand green. Uneven terrain is created using plates and slopes. Plants in the sea are represented with plant elements in more vibrant colors. And of course, sea creatures can't be missing. For that I used a shell and a ray from the Ninjago seabound sets. Maybe it's guiding the diver to a mysterious place. The diorama is definitely nice to look at. I would give it an 8 out of 10. This is an absolute highlight in this series, the mysterious Ronin, or perhaps an older version of Lloyd. And what can I say? A detailed torso, printed arms, dual molded legs, a really cool head mold. The only thing I would criticize is that he only comes with a standard sword and a throwing star. I think we can all agree this figure deserves a 10 out of 10. For the diorama, he gets a dojo scene. The floor starts with tan and dark brown. The wall is mainly built using those wooden profile bricks, alternating with dark brown and a bit of pearl gold, which already creates a very nice look. Speaking of visuals, in the left and right corners are placed some printed tiles that I got from Chimbao sets of Japanese buildings. In the center there's a sword that reminds Lloyd of his past. On the sides there are more wood posts with printed tiles, also from Chimbao sets. Since it still looked a bit empty, I also built a weapon rack and a training dummy. I give this masterpiece a 9 out of 10. It's definitely a real eye-catcher, but for me not quite the very best yet. This figure includes a pretty cool idea, a cosplayer. I'm not sure why they choose Bionicle as the theme, but it still turned out well. It also has its own head mod, which will be a great addition for a Bionicle fan. I would give the figure a 7 out of 10, since the execution of a cosplayer figure doesn't fully convince me yet. Finding a fitting diorama for this figure wasn't that easy. In the end, I went with a bit of storytelling, which suits the figure quite well. The cosplayer took part in a competition and won first place. The theme was orange-red. Second place went to the Chili Pepper from Series 22 and third place to a Kai cosplayer. So let's celebrate him and present him with the trophy. But wait, someone who doesn't agree. I'm Batman. I should be the winner here. But you're black and not red. And now! Yeah, I think we have to cancel the contest. There can only be one 12 out of 10 figure, and this one has claimed the spot. The Garbage Monster not only features a unique head mold that can be removed, revealing a decayed face underneath, but it also comes with arm printing, side leg printing and a fishbone element. Really adds a lot. This is definitely a 10 out of 10 figure that truly stands out. For the diorama, I had absolutely no ideas at first, but I eventually went with a sewer section. After all, every monster retreats into the sewer, right? The water is represented using trans green bricks. Yes, it's very dirty water. On one side, there's a walkway that together with the wall and the arch is meant to suggest the underground structure. Interestingly, this section actually reminds me a bit of a subway station, which wasn't really my intention. The diorama feels a bit unfitting for the figure, but its simple design still gives it a certain appeal. This figure is really cool. The Tuba Player not only comes with his massive tuba, but also features detailed printing, such as one of the sides of the legs and on the arms, which I really like. The headpiece is also very well done. The figure may not be as strong as some others, but it still earns a solid 9 out of 10. For the diorama, he gets to perform on stage in front of an audience. The stage is done in dark orange, while the floor for the audience is in dark red. And I have to say, I really like this combination. Of course, he also gets a music stand and a chair. The seating for the audience consists of slightly oversized chairs, which I'm not completely satisfied with yet. Now comes my absolute highlight. For the stage setup, I built a structure in black and pearl gold, where the curtain is attached using studs. I deliberately choose a brick build version because it fits the overall look better. Add a dark blue background and the diorama is complete. As for the diorama, I can only say one thing, 10 out of 10. Here's an overview of the figures and dioramas. I have to say, some of the figures look fantastic in combination with the dioramas. What's your favorite figure? What's your favorite diorama? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next video. HL says,